Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm answering questions today. I have another question from YouTube user, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Pamaroom. Um, Here's the question: how much of the psychology of leverage plays into settlement demands? A lot is the simple answer. But it also really depends on the dynamics over at the defendant's table, right? Right out of the gate, let's say there's an insurance adjuster, and there's often not, because a lot of times workplace sexual harassment or workplace discrimination, um, you're dealing with intentional acts, and often insurance companies either won't cover that or they'll declaim, right? And they'll just say, hey, we're not going to really be involved here, we're not going to pay. But maybe like 10% of cases, there's insurance, and where the insurance adjuster is involved, right off the bat, she or he doesn't care about a variety of things. They don't care about the defendant proper's reputation at all. They don't care. They don't care about press, because the bad press isn't going to be about the insurance adjuster. It's going to be, again, about the defendant. Um, they don't care about the risk of a huge verdict, because odds are their policy is way less than what you might win in a verdict. Generally is the case, right? So a lot of things they don't care about. And if you come at an insurance adjuster asking for more than the adjuster thinks you can win at trial, she or he's going to say, oh, yeah, no, not even a little bit. Why would I do that? Right? Like, it's like, you, and they're not wrong from their perspective, given their motivations, given their playing field as they see it. That is a rational response, right? You get some of the same things from giant multinational corporations, right? But they're all different. Like if you're suing Microsoft, well, a lot of things they don't care about. If you're suing IBM, I mean, IBM recently held, not so long ago, an all hands on deck video meeting for all their employees in which they described their plan to engage in age discrimination. One might extrapolate from that they don't really care that you're pursuing them for age discrimination, right? Oh, Ginny. Um, on the other hand, you've got companies like Google, Apple, some of these companies that try to purport to be a little more woke, although often their wokeness is more, uh, well, it fails to make it to tangible results, right? Um, they don't necessarily have the diversity in hiring. They don't have the equal pay. There's a lot of things where they fall short, but they want to be seen as woke. Their commercials are very diverse, just not their staff or their equal pay, right? Um, and so they might be more reputation conscious at times, certainly. So it's always going to be tied to who you're dealing with. A lot of times, the most vicious fights you'll have over the negotiating table are going to be with like a mom and pop, like a small, closely held family business or something like that. Because often they won't believe, they're like incapable of believing they've done something wrong. Right? You're going to get a lot of that. I'm not racist. I respect women. And it's like, yeah, okay, but you did the things, right? I mean, the things, it's on camera. What do you want from me? Like, you did them. So pay. They're like, no, that was respectful. False, right? But they can't. It's like a personal culpability thing, and often they can't accept that. So you're gonna have this vicious fight to the end, and often I see those as the ones that are most likely to go to trial. The unthinking, unfeeling adjuster just wants to pay you, but wants a good deal, and that kind of is the same for the uncaring multinational. The reputation conscious multinational or the reputation conscious Fortune 500 company, they want to pay you because they're worried about this getting out in the press, right? So everybody on the other end of the spectrum kind of wants to pay to varying degrees. The small business, the family business, well, they might have a couple $100,000 to fight you, and it might be something they choose to do because you're calling Uncle Stevie Owens racist, right? And they would die for family, and they know Stevie Owens. He's only racist on Thanksgiving, right? Like some ridiculous thing like that. I would say that the dynamics, the psychology of settlement, and the leverage, it's different. It's always different based on the dynamics on the defendant side, and then it's always modified by the world at large, right? If you're in the height of Me Too, you got a lot of extra leverage, right? If half the world's starving because of a supply crisis, which is, I'm not saying that's happening now. I'm just saying like that horrible thing came to pass. Well, you're not going to get as much attention on your case. You're just not going to be able to do it, and you have a little bit less, leverage in that scenario. So right, whatever's going on at the defendant's bench, it's modified by the world at large and what's going on in the world and where people's attention is focused right now. And there's also, there's a lot of studies that reflect if you go too high, if you start with a demand that's too high, that's going to hurt your ultimate result in the end. And there's some science and there's countless books on negotiation. I always laugh. People are like, did you learn how to negotiate from that FBI hostage negotiator? No, because that's a different kind of negotiation. He's a moron. Like, that's not, there's no corollary, right? Nobody's going to die in our cases, generally speaking, right? Listen, there's certainly been a couple death threats made here and there, but it's not like a hostage situation. There's not threat of death. Just keeping the person talking is not sufficient. It's not really comparable. And I always get really annoyed and be like, yeah, but he said never split the difference. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, that's generally good advice, but he didn't learn that from hostage negotiating. Like, that's not, you can't split any differences in hostage negotiation. What are you talking about? You're not even really, I'm ranting. Anyways, I hope that's responsive to your question. Like and subscribe if it was. If it wasn't, I will try to do better, and I will sit here in shame and think about what I've done. Like and subscribe. I already said that. Take care.